for everybody to listen to. As it pertains to World League Wrestling, stay tuned, because what you want to do is, after the interview with Ryan Tran, we'll be touching on what is happening within WLW. We'll be touching on what the future of this company has to offer and what's going to be taking place. So make sure you stick around for the whole thing. You don't want to miss out.
I've not missed out on wrestling during this whole time that we've been in, this COVID-19 over the last couple of months. I've spent a lot of time watching. I actually gave me time to sit down and watch a lot more wrestling than what I had time to before. I've been watching the WWE, been watching, ROH, New Japan. It's given me a great opportunity to finally sit down and watch a lot of that. And wrestling is still happening. Under different conditions, of course, with no crowds. Some are putting their performers around the ring and spacing. But that's a testament to the wrestling company's desire to keep going, the performers' desire to keep entertaining you as best they can during this, and also your desire as fans to continue watching wrestling and enjoying wrestling. So,
well, it's
thoughts?
Martin, please. It's not just the me show. It's you go on too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think especially with conditions the way they are, I think it's especially more important to be able to see the shows and the things happening live rather than something that's taped. Because anytime you see something that's taped, the wrestling fans, they speak about it on the internet.
Oh yeah.
And if you're capable of running it live, then they're going to want to see that a lot more often, especially with the big
Yeah.
3, 4.
Right. There's a lot of companies running. One of the biggest ones, of course, being WWE. And, of course, you can always go to the network and see about anything you wanted to from their past history, as well as, they have their massive library, and go back and study some of that old stuff and remember. It's the memories in wrestling that count when it comes to the fans. We can all remember certain things that happened in the ring and on different shows, and we can all go, oh yeah, I remember that show, and I remember this, and I remember that, and that's always a whole lot of fun. And that's what it was all about to me, was memories, and that's what got me in wrestling, was those memories with my father, watching wrestling, watching guys like Harley Race, some of my favorites, some guys like Dr. Death Steve Williams, Terry Gordy. A lot of these guys I remember, and these are the memories that I brought with me, and I'm passing on to, I hope to pass on to my grandkids, so that they can continue a whole lineage of fans that go from generation to generation to generation.
It's one of those things right now. We don't have any control over, obviously, the current climate out there. And with that said, as far as taped shows versus live events, obviously fans would rather attend live events. And that goes without saying. As far as the taped events, in my honest, humble opinion, I think if fans are going to watch it, they're going to want to watch wrestling. And that's what it boils down to. It doesn't, to me, and to me only, I'm not knocking Martin or CT or anybody else's other opinion. By the way, Sarge Phillips says that, oh, do we, in your response to fans on the internet knowing everything. So there you go.
Well, it's Sarge, so what do you expect?
Well, if you're on our Facebook, or if you're on our YouTube channel right now, we welcome the discussion. Just keep it kind of PG, for crying out loud. This is just a way for us, for the company, to interact with you, the fans, right here, right now, given the current climate out there. And we're looking forward to continuing this now and in the future, too. CT and Martin both have been an integral part of WLW since for the past couple of years, actually. And this was a collaborative idea. And CT has the knowledge, the equipment, and everything possible to make this happen. And so, as far as I'm concerned, and just like I tell everybody else, as long as I'm breathing air, and that means you're going to have to kill me to stop World League Wrestling.
Amen. I'm
off my soapbox.
There you go. There you go. And
that was fun.
I've been here.
Yeah. Amen.
I've been involved with WLW for probably close to 5 years in one way or another. You and I got together a couple of years ago and started working the WLW TV stuff out. And that just, we've done, I'm real impressed with that. We're on 4 stations in 3 markets.
That's correct. Yes, 4 stations in 3 markets. We're on in Columbia, Missouri, St. Joseph, Missouri, which to me is something really special.
Yes.
I'm not saying anything bad about the other markets or the other locations, but
That's history for us, though.
yeah, and given the whole knowledge and the history of this company is history, 2 forms of history together, and that to me means a lot. I'm a big history buff, as it pertains to wrestling. Do I know U.S. history? No, not anymore. I think those brain cells got knocked away a few years ago, but we're doing this, and as it pertains to our television product. Man, if you guys have been around for any length of time, I have seen personally, the growth from episode 1 to, I believe we're on 86 now. Last night in Columbia aired episode 86. And to see that growth from a professional standpoint, from a personal standpoint, I think is awesome. You could even see it from 1 to 10, and then 1 to 20, 1 to 50, and now 86.
I can remember the excitement, and because when we're putting these shows together for TV, there's so much discussion on how this is going to run, what we're going to do, and how this is going to look, that we didn't even realize really until it snuck up on us. 50th episode had hit, and we were like, "Oh, we got to do something for that."
Yeah,
I mean that's special. And then we had 75, and now we're pushing 100.
Yeah. Never in my wildest dream. I'm a very ambitious person, and when we started television, when I came to you and I said, "Look, we're going to do episode 100, or we're going to do television." Never in my mind did I realize 100 had actually become a reality.
Oh, without a doubt. Hey, I tell you what, let's go ahead and let's go to the phones because I think he's waiting. So, Ryan, are you with us?
Yep.
Hey, how are you?
Hey guys, how you doing?
We're doing great. How about
Good,
you?
Thank you. Oh, man,
How's things
awesome.
going for you these days? You staying? I know you're staying busy with WWE, of course.
Yeah, like last week we just had a couple of tapings, so we did that for 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. But before that, actually, I had close to 2 months off because of the whole pandemic. So it's been
so
crazy.
you were staying home? You were staying home
no
for
shows
that?
going on. Yeah. They're kind of playing it safe with guys with kids. Since I have a 6-year-old, 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old, so they're kind of minimizing travel. But yeah, I had to get a little bit of work in last week, so get the rust off.
That's good that they did that. It's good to work for a company that'll do that for you too.
Yeah.
Family's important.
Yes, they do take care of me.
So I do have a surprise for you because in our studio right now is a special co-host who's the Legacy
up,
Leland race.
What's going on, my man?
That's a great surprise. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to blow your eardrums
We're hanging in
out.
there out here. No, it's always good to hear from you, brother.
So,
And no, sorry, CT, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's not about me. Today's about Ryan Tran, the WLW fan, CT, and Martin. Okay, I'm just here to. I would like to be a part of this more often.
let's go back then.
Sure.
Let's go
Three-man
ahead and
show
go
today?
back. Let's go back and let's go ahead and talk about
three-man
that.
show. It's good to have you, man.
That's Martin, CT, and it's. Go ahead, CT. I
All right.
apologize.
So let's go back now then. Let's go ahead and start where it started off with y'all. Okay, first of all, Ryan, you were in California, right?
Yeah, I started out
beginning?
in Sacramento under Supreme Pro Wrestling is where I started out.
Okay, and then you
it was
came
funny
to.
story because
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead.
No, tell us about
Yeah,
Sacramento.
So it was just kind of a thing where I was there to support a friend, Josh Littell, the Master Samurai. He was ring announcing as I was working at Applebee's at the time, and I just happened to go out and kind of give him a watch, and then from there, it's kind of like that pulled me into the business. I started started out as a referee for about a month or so, taking bumps, and then just I thought I could pick it up, so I became a wrestler.
And then you went to You came to WLW from there? Or was there a stop in between?
After about, about 5 years in over there, maybe about 4 or 5 years in. So Sir Samurai, my trainer, Big Ugly, Gabe Jimenez, and another guy, Danny Reynoso, who goes by Flaco Loco, took me to Cauliflower Alley Club in Las Vegas. And then from there, Steamboat, Harley, Les Thatcher would do their seminars there as well. And from there, I remember just thinking, oh, shoot, this school is legit, because Superstar Steve was running the camp at the time. And I just loved the drills. I just loved the intensity of the workout, the discipline that they had, the paying every inch of detail, to bumps, to arm drive, every little thing they nitpicked, and I loved it because, you know what, if you want to make it anywhere in the profession, like, you've got to be perfect in your craft, and that's what kind of sold me on it. So that was about a September when we usually do the Cauliflower Alley clubs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's like May. Harley used to do the camps in September. So then I saved up for about 8 months bartending, and then I decided to make the move and go out to Eldon at the time, Eldon, Missouri, and then go to the World Wrestling Academy.
So what was that like, learning from Harley Race?
It was nerve-wracking at times, and at the same time I knew I was, because, I mean, you go and you do, he'd pick a couple guys, whatever, you go in the ring, and at the time it wasn't like calling matches or anything like that. You just go in there and then just, hey guys, give me an 8-minute match, and just call it in there, which is, at the time coming out of Sacramento in the Bay Area, there was a lot of lucha influence as well. So you kind of call spots and you do all these high-flying things. And out there with Harley was like, well, you can't just call that, like, I'm going to fly off the top rope and do whatever and not have the guy know what's going on. So it was taking your time. It was taking care of the other person in the ring as well as yourself, and making everything count. So it was very nerve-wracking when he'd sit out there and watch, because if you were talking loud or making it obvious, then, he'd call you out on it. And again, which is paying every inch of, paying close attention to detail and perfecting your craft. He was very, this word gets thrown out there a lot now, is kayfabe, and he was all about that. So you can't be making it obvious out there,
For the fans that are sitting here listening, sorry, Bonsai,
yeah,
I apologize. I talk quite a bit, and there's a lag going on, but a little bit. When you moved to Eldon, you came from California, where there's life and a lot of different culture shock, and then to move to Eldon, Missouri.
That's a culture shock.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a town of 2,000.
Three tops.
There was
on a good
in Eldon, there's maybe, off the top of my head, I can count the stoplights. I think there was 4.
That's good. That's good, because ain't nobody there can count them.
I think a couple of them got knocked down, so maybe it's just 1 or 2 now.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So the big reality shock was when I first went to, after Cauliflower Club, I also went to another one of Harley's camps where he had the NOAH guys come in and WWE representatives like John Laurinaitis come in and watch. And I remember my first reality shock was getting to Kansas City and thinking, oh, I can just take public transportation or something and get to Eldon, and just being naive, 23-year-old guy. I was thinking I could just, take a bus or train or something like that, and it was not like that. I remember I called BJ, like, oh my God, I'm 3 hours away. I don't know how to get there. I can't get a car rental because at the time it was Hurricane Katrina. Like, I guess the cars had been gone out of Kansas City Airport. I couldn't rent anything. And luckily, she paired me up with John Cone, another WWE referee right now, too, on Raw. But I was able to link up with him, and then the next day I was able to get a ride out to the camp and then do the whole week-long camp over there, which was another selling point for me, too. I thought it was great. Like, you get exposure to WWE and Pro Wrestling Noah, which was really hot at the time, and it was the place to be.
So you got to WLW and you trained with Harley and you trained with all the guys and the gals that were there training and working, and you started doing shows. I'm going to go back here for just a second and let's talk about you were SPW Extreme Champion 2 times, SPW Heavyweight Champion 1 time, and you were actually a WLW Tag Team Champion along with Steve Anthony, correct?
Yes.
About 2009-ish?
Yeah, it was funny, because just before I left, I remember, they had a tag team title tournament, I guess, and then Steve Anthony had to relocate back out to Louisiana, so it was a short-lived tag title run.
The infamous Waterloo show, if I'm not mistaken, where the drapes
we
like
vacated
dominoes.
those things, and at that time, I think a lot of things had happened too with at the time BJ being there and her passing away. So, and she really ran the whole company, as far as doing events, doing the signs, and making sure everything went smooth. With I think Jason does a great job of doing now, trying to keep the company afloat. Which is, man, thank you for keeping World League Wrestling alive. And then things kind of went south when she kind of left us.
When I don't think a lot of people understand when you came to Eldon, and the students there and the wrestlers there, because they're basically one and the same. We developed a family relationship, and because we were all we had. You and Breaker worked at Chili's at the lake. I'm sorry. And, I believe Lucy later on did as well, if I'm not mistaken. And we would ride. We would ride to these towns, man, and we had to entertain ourselves, and we relied on one another. And I think that's what a lot of guys today don't really understand. I don't know what it's like at other schools. I try to keep that mentality around because, man, for me, wrestling is all we have, and I like to keep it like that,
I think out there it was very different than other schools, because everyone there, I think at the time, was like, we either had no kids, really no significant. I had my girlfriend at the time. We're doing long distance, which is my wife now, but it was very like you're alone, right? So I think all you had was your classmates, and that's why I think our group had that special bond, like a brotherhood, sisterhood. Like we looked out for each other no matter what, and it was great. Like even with having Go Shiozaki there at the time too, that year, you'd think he'd be by himself, he could speak English, but not that great until he started, really hanging out with us and learning more of the language. But it was always keeping each other entertained and keeping each other like out of trouble almost too. It was that time there was great. There was I felt like there was a couple generations. Like you had the Trevor Murdochs, Matt Murphys, Superstar Steve, Darren Wade, Wild Wade, and those guys were kind of like the first group of guys that, when I got there, those were the 5 guys I knew were kind of looking out after us as we did matches and all those things in the ring as well at the school. And then as time went by, it kind of changed over as those guys kind of left a little bit. It was like myself, Steve Anthony, Darren was still there. Trevor stopped in every now and then, and a Breaker, and then yourself there too. That was kind of like the new crew that came in, but we still kept everything intact. Johnny Pantoja too, he was a good one there as well.
Right. So when, as your career went on, and you started progressing and you moved forward, you ended up with WWE. You actually had a match with Tyson Kidd, correct?
Yes, in 2008, I believe.
Was there anybody else?
No, that was the only televised one that I did with WWE at the time, and
no dark matches.
And that was one that was actually no dark matches at all. Yeah, that day was a little bit funny. So this was actually in Fresno, California. So another big thing too, I guess I'll stress out about the school was going to a reputable school under Harley and everything too. Like once you say the name, hey, I go to Harley Races School at World League Wrestling, immediately it catches everybody's attention. So it was one of the things where I knew I had to leave California to go to Harley School because I could be an extra, whether he could call Ty Bailey or talent relations or any of those guys up top. They'd be like, hey, I've got a kid and I want to take a look at. He's going to be in town. Can you book him to be an extra? And it was instant. Like, you will get booked. It wasn't even a question. It was no question. Give me his name, give me his info, and then we can take care of it. So I was going home at the time because I knew they were going to have TV out in California. So that's why it was in Fresno. I got booked as an extra. I had Harley make the call to Ty Bailey, and that was able to happen. So we go through the entire day, and they were supposed to use T.J. Perkins that day to wrestle Tyson's kid. And I guess T.J. had a little bit of gear that was out there. So it was one of the last minute thing where I had just gone out of catering, and they're like, hey, we need all you extras to dress up in gear again. We're going to have to switch out and see what, who can work Tyson Kidd. So, and I just had 2 plates of like steak, lobster. Oh no.
Jeez. Spent too much time at catering.
Yeah, so we go, I thought my day was over. So we go in there and then gear, and John Laurinaitis goes, well, we'll use him though. And he points at me because I had some black trunks, black kick pads, black shoes. Everything was pretty plain, right? Nothing special about me except the blonde mullet. So
what?
So then, so then they send me in, and then and then luckily we had a good match. Just quick 5 minutes. John Cohn was the referee too, and everything went from there. I thought everything would go good, but didn't hear anything from the company. So yeah, that was the only match I really did with WWE.
So you moved into. How did you get with them to be a referee? How did that come about?
So I think I was at the tail end of just wrestling, and I was getting up there. I guess I'd say, what was I, 28, and I think I'd been gone home for so long already, and I was getting really homesick because living in a town of 2,000 and 4 stoplights can get to you, So I remember we were in Kansas City as extras, and then I remember Jason was there too. I think Brian Breaker was there, but I went to Ty Bailey and said, hey, you got a second? He was like, yeah, real quick, what? So I said, look, man, I've had tryouts. I've been here doing extra plenty of times. Like, what's it going to take to get a job? I'm just kind of sick of it all. I'm ready to go home. He goes, well, you know what? You ever thought about being a referee? And I was like, well, yeah, I started out as one, but yeah, okay. I mean, you need one? So I cut that hair. We've got pay-per-view Elimination Chamber next week in St. Louis on a Sunday. Then they go Indianapolis to Chicago for Raw and then SmackDown. As they were going, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday at the time. And I said, okay. So we go home that week. I cut my hair. We show up. All of us show up at St. Louis TV pay-per-view, and I had a quick interview. Like Ty Bailey, I think he didn't have time for me in the daytime. Like Johnny was busy. That stuff was going on. If you guys remember, that Elimination Chamber was the one where Taker got burned. So it was, needless to say, it was a bad day for talent relations.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that
I didn't want to
earlier.
talk to anybody. Yeah, so that was the pick we were at. He got burned, and he was just like, if you remember him, just walking down the ramp super fast, un-Taker-like, and I thought he was drinking water in the pod the whole time, but he was actually pouring water on the burn for the 15, 20 minutes that he was standing in the pod with no care. So TR, talent relations, that was the last thing they wanted to do was talk to me. But somehow then in the night, he pulled me in real quick and asked me for a quick, tell me about yourself. I said where I started, Sacramento, same school as actually John Morrison before he went to Tough Enough. That was the same school, same trainer in Sacramento. And then went over to Harley's. I said I've been his head trainer for the past year. But and then from there, he was like, well, can you pull a 250-pound guy off another 250-pound guy? And I thought it was a trick question. So I was like, well, I mean, I wrestled in high school, and I think I'm decent, pretty tough, I was like, yeah, okay, I can do that. He goes, well, that's the job. Are you okay with relocating to Tampa? I was like, no, not problem at all. And next thing you know, the following week, they gave me, they flew me to Pittsburgh to do testing, and then blood testing, joints and body, make sure you're in good tip-top shape. You know, just like an NFL combine or something like that. And then next thing you know, it was get packed up and get ready to relocate to Tampa. Wow. And then that's how I got started to being a referee. So it wasn't even the traditional way of like being a referee on the indies or something like that. It was just as a worker, they kind of just transitioned me right over to being a referee, which might have been a good thing, because down in FGW, Florida, in Tampa, it was, you kind of learn from scratch. So there's no bad habits that they had to get out of you. It was just learning on the go.
And having experience as a wrestler too, and being trained, it probably helped out a whole lot.
Definitely, yeah. So when guys are talking over matches, and then you can kind of figure out where you need to be at the end. Like, you know, when guys lock up corner to corner, I know where to be standing, so I don't get in the way in case they, you know, they're tussling and backing up to a corner or something like that. Or as they're going through, you know, finishing the matches, then I can, you know where to be, kind of know what's going on, and if someone's lost, like what's the company that's WWE that's really big on us, as well as we got to check out for the safety of the wrestlers. So, you know, sometimes if, you know, they might have taken a bad bump or something, we're kind of close by to see if he or she is, you know, still intact, or are they conscious, or did they get knocked loopy a little bit? Like, we're kind of the middleman to make sure all the talents are safe and their well-being in there.
One of our favorite fans at WLW, Sarge, wants to know, how often does Ryan have to work out to stay in shape, and what type of routine does he do?
So, man, like, with having 3 kids, it gets pretty tough, you know, but so I get my spurts. Sometimes I'll just, like, I'll be real. I just stop working out for sometimes months at a time before I get back into it. And when I get back into it, it gets pretty strict if I see myself getting way out of control, you know. But it's hard because it's, you know, you're on the road, so you're trying to, you know, and being a crew ref, like, we start our days early. 9 a.m. is when we get to the building. We start building the ring. We got to dump the truck, you know, get everything out before we start building. So sometimes it takes a couple of hours, you know, to get everything set up. And then by the time you're done at noon, you know, 11:30 or noon, you're trying to find a gym. So sometimes if it's nearby, you can find one. Sometimes, like, if it's these newer arenas with a hockey team or basketball team, sometimes they'll let you in and work out in
nice.
in their facilities, which is kind of cool. So you don't have to go, because you don't have cars. You're traveling on a bus going town to town. So the modes of transportation is a little bit difficult to find unless it's a block or 2 blocks away, you know?
Right.
So, but my stuff is like, I just kind of try to do, I guess it's I do like powerlifting, knowing I can lift heavy things. So sometimes I may look a little bit thick because I'm just trying to throw up a lot on the bench and squats and then deadlifts. But other than that, yeah, I try to get about 15 minutes of either elliptical or cardio at the end of the workout to try to get some sense of a cardio in there, because sometimes you may be in a match going, you know, 20, 25 minutes. And it's a lot of burpees, going down, counting 1, 2, 3, whatever you need to do, and then getting back up again. You know, it's a lot of movement in there too. So you try to keep your cardio up as well. Hopefully I answered that.
No, right? Yeah, no, that's awesome. Burpees are the death of me, for sure.
Yeah.
There's another guy, another fan of ours, a super fan. His name is Big Alex, and Alex he had a kind of twofer. He said, you know, what was your favorite person who was your favorite person to wrestle at WLW, and what is one of your favorite matches in WWE that you have reffed?
Okay, so going to WLW, I say my favorite person to work with was, I think, Darren Wade. I think because he was such good, like, technically as a wrestler, doing holds and counters, reversals, but his size as well, he was able to fly around. So it was almost like working a mirror image of myself, you know? So it was able to fun because we could actually do high spots and do crazy spots that were like, you might not be able to do because, like, I wouldn't be able to do with a Breaker or, you know, Trevor Murdoch or anybody like that, you know? He was different, and he always kept me going too. Like, I would say, like, if I could do something, he could do it better. I would try to do it better, and he would do it better than that, and it was always making us one up each other, you know. So it's fun. Like you don't stay complacent. It was always cool to have someone that makes you step up.
Sure.
As far as favorite match to referee, if you want to count WWE developmental, the best match I've had was I got to officiate was Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, who goes by John Moxley now. It was FCW 30. So at the time, it was Dusty Rhodes that set up a thing with FCW 15. So for 15 minutes, it was you would just go. So this is why cardio kind of gets involved into it too, right? It was 15 minutes. Guys would just wrestle. Whoever has the most pinfalls at the end would win. And so, you know, they had been feuding, and then they had finally gotten boiled over to go to the FCW 30, which ended up taking over an entire show for FCW TV. And it ended up with a tie, and they had to add a few more minutes to go into it. But it was by far, like, if you can watch it on YouTube, from the commentary, from the build-up of having Steamboat interviewed, Dusty interviewed, Steve Kern interviewed, everybody to build up to that match was great. And then that match was even better than that. It was just so intense. It was one of the best ones. And Joey Mercury at the time was producing that match in the back, so he was in my earpiece. And I remember after that match had been done, he was like, "Man, you're I don't know, it's kid friendly. He was you're badass referee," and that really got me over the hump. I felt like, damn, I can hang in there. You know, these are the top guys in FCW. I know if I've got his respect, like, man, I can do this.
Well,
So,
you're
that'd
sitting
be my
talking
favorite
about
match. I
matches.
appreciate it.
I'm a referee too, and I got something that I've been wanting to ask you since I heard you were coming on the show, and that, you know, you have the experience of reffing Hell in the Cell and things like that. What are some of the different considerations that you have to take, you know, going from just reffing singles matches and tag team matches to something like a Hell in the Cell or a TLC or is there anything different that you have to focus on there that you don't focus on every time?
I feel like that's a selfish question. I feel like you're
It
trying
is.
to.
It's a very selfish question. I am not ashamed at all.
Yeah. Oh, it's all good, man. Yeah.
Like that was all about you, right there.
that Hell in a Cell TLC, those, I mean, since they're a little bit more dangerous than your normal match, it's going back to being checking on the well-being and the safety of the guys. It's a lot of after they take a big bump, you're going and checking on them right away and making sure they're okay. You know, it's hard because, like, you can't pull a guy out of the corner, you can't pull a guy off a rope or count out or nothing like that because it's no disqualifications, right? It's TLC or Hell in a Cell, everything goes. So for me, it's just always moving, you know, and usually with those matches, there's multiple guys, right? So you can always stay busy. I always feel like I can always check on someone here. Then if that's dead, I'll go to another guy. But the last thing I want to be is a referee standing in a corner while everything is happening. And it looks like these guys are, you know, doing all these things, but why is that referee kind of stuck in the corner doing absolutely nothing? I think when you slide down and check on a guy or see if they're going to continue in the match, it adds to it, right? Because it's a devastating move, whether they, you know, fell off the cage or got dumped from the top rope to the cell on the outside. Like you've got to slide on, check and see if these guys are okay. Because I mean, the story of it is it's a dangerous match. That's why the match has taken to this level after, you know, the build up to it. So I think it's important that we always check on the safety and well-being of the guys and always moving.
So, being in WWE, who are some of your biggest influences in WWE that has helped you, I guess, acclimate yourself to being a referee and doing the best job that you can? Who's your go-to?
So there's actually 4 guys that I always ask questions to. You know, we used to ride around a lot together as well. It's just Mike Chioda is one of the best referees this business has ever seen. You know, I always ask him questions that I need to approach a match, you know, a certain thing they may want us to do as referee. Charles Robinson's another one who's been in business for a very long time. So I respect his opinions on everything. John Cone and Chad Patton too. Those are the 4 guys. But that's not to say that I can't ask questions to the other referees as well. Like, you know, who do you have there? Like Jason Ayers, Sean Bennett, and Eddie Ringo, Drake Wirtz, all those guys either. You know, like you can learn from everybody. So, but those 4 guys I tend to approach a lot if I have questions on certain things, because I still am new. I feel like I am new to this business. I started in 2010, refereeing.
And you just had a call up to the referee team from NXT here not long ago. The first, I believe, is actually the first female referee for WWE.
First, full-time female referee, yeah. Yeah, Jessica, yeah. She's killing it up there.
You know, from a referee's perspective, Ryan, what does your day consist of? Because like you were touching on earlier, you're part of the ring crew. And I think there's a lot of people that just assume that when they get to the building, the ring is there, they just hit a button and it comes up from the floor. You know? And the way I was brought up, you know, the ring is one of the main stars of the whole wrestling event. You know, to me, in my personal opinion, it is, whether you classify it as pro wrestling or sports entertainment, you still need that ring to have that event. That said, what does your day consist of? Because a lot of people don't understand how much goes into it.
Yeah, so most times we will fly in the day before to wherever town we're at, and then so we spend the night. The next morning is when we start up at 9 a.m. That's where we got to dump the truck with the lights, the video wall, the ramp, and of course the ring. Once that's done, you know, like I said, you either find a gym, like you can use a gym there or whatnot, or you guys can go out to lunch with the rest of the crew, and that's usually like a 6-man person crew. And so, you know, they'll come back, they'll do, you know, 3:30, 4 o'clock, so they can do the rehearsal with the producers or whatnot. But we, ring crew guys, we don't technically got to be there, but till, you know, 6 o'clock when doors are open. I like to make sure the ropes are already tight, everything is ready to go, ring skirts up, pads are down, make sure everything looks ready, so when the fans initially walk into the arena, the first thing they see is the finished product, perfection, that ring is ready to go. So I actually get in there a little bit before doors, and then we'll do the show. There'll be another referee there. They come in later in the day, and then so we'll alternate matches. And then once that show is done, I'm rolling cases right out to the floor as people are exiting and tearing down that ring and then loading up that truck, and then it's on to the next town, which sometimes may end at, you know, 12:30. You know, depending on if the arena is kind of newer. When they have loading docks, you can just roll cases right onto the truck, as opposed to some places that don't. So you've got a forklift. You got to stack cases, forklift that load onto the truck, which is going to be a longer process. But yeah, our days are long, from 9 a.m. to possibly, you know, 12:30, 1 a.m.
That's what a lot of people don't understand. You know, there's much more to it than what the eyes see. And, you know, it's here we try to implement that same thing just because, you know, it just, like I said, you just don't hit a button and it pops out of the floor, unfortunately.
Yeah, it wears me out watching you guys put that ring up and take it down.
We had a couple more questions from the fans. Again, Big Alex said,
go ahead.
Any wrestlers that you really like working with there for WWE?
Everyone is kind of different. So it's like, just, you know, I mean, some superstars are going to get a bigger reaction than others. For me, it was always fun working with Cena, because once that music hits, I mean, that place is like erupts, you know, in the live events. I mean, it's insane. Like, you get goosebumps, you know. Another one too was like a couple times I've got to work with Undertaker as well. One in a live event where he was unexpected, and I mean, literally, my hairs were like standing on my arm from the reaction. Just hearing the gongs, all that was cool. Those guys are super professionals in the ring. Cena, if he did something wrong, he's very professional and approaching you, which, like, I've gotten one time from him, but it was like never. He's never been mean. He's like super professional, right? Like it was one of those where I was like, okay, I'll fix it next time, and sometimes that's all the talent asks for, you know. You just gotta listen and say, all right, I won't make a mistake next time. You know, I'll fix it. But that's why Cena was on top of the business for so long. He demanded perfection, and so when I got in the ring with him, that's what I expected out of myself. Other guys, it's kind of cool, like guys like New Day, even like the newer talents now, since I've worked with them in FCW as well as working them a few times in NXT. Like it's more of a better camaraderie. But the older guys, you know, I still give a lot of respect to, like the Kanes, the Randy Ortons, the guys who've been there before my time.
One of the other things that came up on here was from one of our fans, actually from Sarge.
Yeah.
What's the difference in coming and doing a show for Harley and doing a show and doing a show for the American Dream, for Dusty? What was the differences in that? I mean, working one's way versus the other. What were the differences in that?
So with Dusty, he was very, like, it was more of FCW TV. Like, he wouldn't really book the cards that we went for, like, from little towns to towns. So I guess that's a really big difference because it was for TV, and it was like, you know, taking into account commercials and breaks and such. But you know, just like TV, they have a meeting, and then he'd tell what he'd expect. He'd tell everyone what he'd expect out of the matches and storyline wise what he'd want. Harley was kind of pretty easy. I don't think there was really any storylines. He would just put on good cards. You know, I mean, sometimes I guess there would be, but the most storyline you'd get out of Harley sometimes, I think, would be the first match would be a singles match, and then that would somehow bleed into a tag team match, which would Jason knows what I'm talking about. You'd work that 15-minute time limit until it gets screwed at the end, and then somehow it'd work into a tag team match where you'd have to go 25 minutes because there'd only be 6 matches on the card, and he'd try to fill it. So I mean, if you were in that spot, he trusted you, which is great. You know, like I felt like that was a sign of like he appreciated your work and he respected your work, and then he trusted you to go 15 and then another 20, 25, whatever it was to go for. So I guess it's a little bit of a big difference. Yeah.
We're going to wrap it up here.
Yeah.
But I just want these fans to understand, like, the camaraderie that, or the friendship, I guess. It's not even, to me, those are two different things that I had with you and Breaker and a few other guys, too, and still have to this day. You know, I was there in Kansas City at the Sprint Center when you asked Ty Bailey, and then the week later where you actually came into catering. And you said, you were
one of the first people that saw everything happen, and man, it was I think you and Breaker in that small locker room on the side of the building.
And then you know, that same night where we had to disguise ourselves as the Wall, because like you said, the Undertaker got burned, and you saw about 6 or 7 guys walking Taker back to, I guess, Vince's office. Yeah. And you know, we had to camouflage ourselves, but you know, when you said that you got signed, man, like, it was, to me, that was just like an awesome feeling, and to see you go from little Eldon and to see you grow now to not only be a professional referee for WWE, but also, I mean, you got 3 kids and a you know, a great family. I unfortunately haven't met them. I'd love to, but to see you grow from that person to where you are now is it's just a great thing. Not to sound like you know, Trump or anything like that, because he says the same thing sometimes, chooses the same words. But you know, that to me, you know, is really happy for me as a friend to see you grow, and the others that were in our group too. And I just wanted to say that, and you know, I don't know if anybody knows. I'm fairly confident saying you do, that you actually had my first match here within WLW in Sedalia, and I think one of the first times I went back there to wrestle for another promotion, I took a picture of it and I sent it to you, and you know, I'll never forget that, man.
Oh man, I didn't know that. Damn.
Yeah.
That's good. Hopefully I was a professional in there.
No, the springboard knees got a hold of me, but that's not here nor there. That,
Dave.
if you could offer any advice to, I guess, two groups of people, one being wrestling students overall, and then the student. I know you don't know any of them right now, but wrestling students at the academy. What would be your advice? Two different things.
I mean, I guess you take this in life as well, as you can probably do it, but it's kind of be nice, be humble, be nice on your way up, right? I mean, you're learning and everything like that. As far as the school, I don't know, some people progress faster than others. You're going to get more praise from certain people, but just always remember to be humble and be nice to the people on your way up, because on that way back down, man, you don't know who you're going to run into again, and you don't want to be that jerk that no one wants to book, and you take that in life as well. I want everyone in this world to be able to say, like, damn, like, Ryan was a good person in general. Like, I would hope no one has anything bad to say about me. And I think that's the way we should kind of go about life as well as the wrestling world. That's how it's kind of helped me go through so many things. Like when someone says, he's my referee, oh, he's cool. Yeah, he'll be fine. It's you take that in life in the wrestling business as well. And yeah, man, I guess that's the biggest thing I can tell to the students there. Just be humble, be patient, try to perfect your craft. You got to take every criticism that you can, positively. You can't be don't feel like it's a knock on you, especially when guys, like, I don't know if they still stop in there, but like, say, Superstar Steve Fender goes in there, let's say Trevor stops by in there, and Darren or anybody, those guys that have paved the way for us at World League Wrestling. Like, you've got to take their criticism, take it positive, apply it to your craft, and use it towards your next match.
Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you'll come back and visit us again soon.
Oh, anytime, guys. Yeah, anytime.
Awesome. Well, we'll let you go, and we'll get out of here and get out of your hair. And again, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch up with you down the road soon. We'll see you on TV at least.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, thank you very much, Ryan. We'll talk soon, my friend.
Yeah, it's great having you, man.
No problem. Anything for you.
Oops. All right. Wow. Ryan Tran. Very cool. Very cool.
He I don't know if he'll hear this after the fact, and whether he does or not. He's always been just a great human being, and not just in the world of WLW or professional wrestling. He's one of those individuals that are you don't find him around the street corner every single day. And I believe that his work ethic and the efforts that he has put into his career as a profession in this business as a professional wrestler has gotten him to where he's at. He's been there for 10 years, and there's very few people today that had that type of tenure within WWE. And I think that's a testament not only to himself as a profession, but as just a person, like I said.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, let's move a little forward, because we told everybody we were going to talk about World League Wrestling. And we told everybody we were going to talk about not just today, but tomorrow and down the road. So I know it's been a difficult time over the last couple of months with the way things have been going in our country, well, around the world, really. Yeah. It's affected everybody, but it's also affected all the businesses and everything. And here we sit. So what is down the road for WLW? What is, where are we going? Where are we at?
Obviously, like you said, CT, it's not a hidden fact of what's going on across the globe. Like you said, it's worldwide, man. This is affecting every single person's life in some facet or another. As it pertains to World League Wrestling, we're trying to hit the ground running, so when we can, we're going to have our feet underneath us and move forward. To me, I compare World League Wrestling here lately, I've done a lot of it to a bicycle. There's a lot of moving parts to a bicycle. There's a chain, there's tires, pedals, the frame, everything, man. And every single wrestler, every single student, every single staff member there, and you guys are included in that. Referees, CTU handle the video. My wife does so much; it's unbelievable, and I mean that in a lot of good ways. And
Oh yeah.
I know she's listening, so take note of that. I better have some food ready tonight.
She's quite the behind the scenes for World League Wrestling. She is
part of World League
I just
Wrestling.
call her
yeah.
boss.
Yeah, and trust me, I do too.
that's the boss.
That said, she was also a really good wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
There's she's I think is transitioning from that wrestling role to helping World League Wrestling stay functioning. There's a lot of moving parts to WLW. It went from, as you heard Ryan say, basically like just I don't want to say a run-of-the-mill wrestling promotion because we're the furthest thing from that, but a wrestling promotion that just put on cards, and now it's transitioned to I don't want to say a multi-platform type of thing, but that's halfway what it is. We're on television. Right. We're doing a live radio show every week, and we have there's a conglomerate of things taking place, and new merchandise. YouTube channel, the whole shebang, man. New students coming in.
Actually, you just mentioned one thing: the new merchandise. Tell
Sure.
them about the new shirt.
To me, I think it's awesome. It's going to look really good. I believe the orders will be sent out by Friday at the latest, and there'll be a mock-up, not a mock-up, but a picture of the actual shirt once it gets printed Wednesday or Thursday, and we'll put it out and
I can't wait.
I think it's going to be pretty awesome.
Tough times don't last. Tough people do. That's what's on the shirt.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of the motto of not only WLW but the whole world right now, and that's to me that's what it is.
Yeah.
And on the back, you got a lot of the wrestlers on there that have competed, or referees for that matter, competed within WLW or refereed within WLW. And, of course, overlaid with that is the picture of the man, the guy who created the company, of course, Harley Race. And there's a few other things on the website, and, I'm just trying to figure out which avenue we can get out there for us. We want to by doing something like this right here, right now, we're letting the fans know that we're not a casualty of this pandemic.
We ain't dead.
We are not a statistic.
Nope.
To me, this is we're talking about trying to start training back towards the latter end of next month, latter end of June, and over the past 2 months now, because it's been over 2 months.
Yes.
That I've been sitting at home, that you've been sitting at home, Martin.
Right, we've all been waiting to get back.
Yeah, and not just talk about in generality too.
Just
people,
sitting, doing nothing. We can't go out and do anything. We can't.
Yeah.
It's not just being able to go to the arena, but it's we have not been able to go to visit our friends at their homes or go out on a regular basis
Dine in
and just
restaurants.
dine in
Right.
restaurants.
It goes even deeper
Just
than
going to the grocery
Right.
store is an experiment.
And that said, a lot of our guys, well, every one of our guys have taken the past 2 months off forcibly. And that while that's been good for our body, because, training every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday takes a toll on your body, because we don't get in there and just sit, much to the dismay of some of the students, I'm sure. But, we get in there and we work hard. And there are some days that are a little bit, I guess, lazier than others. Not to say we're lazy, but just a little bit less tough.
Laid back.
A little bit more laid back.
In fairness to that, the days that are physically lazy are a little bit more mentally.
Yeah, exactly. It's just to give everybody a little bit of a physical break.
Right. It's all about learning more and improving something.
So within these past 2 months, again, forcibly has made me sit back and think, all right, what do we need to do? It has made me sit back, especially as a trainer there, to sit and say, all right, we're going to be redoing things for the classes. I'm trying to get in touch with every one of the students and say, all right, what can we do as trainers to improve your experience there as a student? And I guess, the first and foremost thing that I would say to both wrestlers and students and staff alike is I apologize because, it's an overwhelming thing to be thrown into the driver's seat of a car halfway unexpectedly. And that for anybody, I don't care how well groomed, how well prepared you are.
You're never 100% prepared.
No, not until you're in that driver's seat. Things will be changing in a positive way, in a more positive way actually. I hope that every one of the students that are at the academy will be listening and or are listening to this right here right now. Excuse me. Come when training starts back, we're going to continue to work hard. We're going to get in there and be more organized. We're going to get things done. We're going to make sure that everybody is getting what they want out of that training in some way or another. I sat and talked with Sean Patrick yesterday about what can be done. What are some new ideas to implement in training? And we're going to have a couple really good ideas. All of them will be implemented. It's just a matter of how we attack it and what we do.
Right, you can't shock the system and just go gangbusters with it.
Well,
you've got to kind of
you only have so many hours.
Work it in. Yeah.
You only have so many hours in a day.
Sure.
And especially in training. We've had a lot of people email and ask for the new training dates rather for new students, and we're looking at I believe the first Tuesday of July, if I'm not mistaken. And then we move on to World League Wrestling, the company, the wrestling promotion itself. We have a few ideas. One of them, I believe, in my crevice of deepest of deep in my body, that it's going to be a really good idea, presuming we can get everything lined up. So for the people that are listening that are not here within Lincoln County, Lincoln County will be releasing new guidelines and new recommendations come May 31st. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that works to our advantage just at least a little bit. And we're going to go out there and we have a couple ideas. We're trying to get all the ducks in a row now. So when May 31st comes and they say, all right, here's the new stuff, and it works with us, not necessarily against it, but more with us, we got some events that we're going to be announcing. I'm not going to say anything now because anytime I open my mouth, it generally doesn't happen for one reason or another.
I like the idea, and I think it's going to be amazing. And
I think it's going to be great.
If we could pull this off and make all the stars align,
yeah.
I think folks are going to really love this.
And you just got to give it a chance, man. There's 11,000 people in this town of Troy, Missouri. And I hope that 10% show up to this. And it's not from a financial standpoint. It is from the standpoint of, hey, we're bringing something to this area that right now, when they need it the most, is going to be here. It's just be ready. That's all I have to say.
Well, WLW is a very community-oriented company. We have been very community-oriented when it comes to Troy and Lincoln County. Mm-hmm. And I say that to say that the fans in the area are lifeblood, man. You are your family to us. You're very important. So with what we do and how we move forward, man, I just say hang on tight because
man, it's gonna be a ride. Buckle up, baby.
That's it. That's right. So
go ahead.
Are you anything else you want to add?
No, again, I definitely said it at the beginning, and I'm sorry, Martin, I've kind of taken over your role as a talking person here.
I'd rather listen to you than Martin anyways.
I don't know nothing about that, but when you're sitting in a house for 2 months and the only people you see are 4 dogs and your wife occasionally because she's so awesome that she is out there working to pick up my lack of income right now because I don't have an income.
Nice. Put her over.
Don't worry, I will. Without even asking. she paid me a little bit, but that's not here nor there. A big thanks to you guys because you're taking time out of your day. Martin, you have a family. CT, you have a life, man. You're here doing this voluntarily until, you figure, once you see the numbers we're pulling in, you're going to say, where's the money? And I don't know nothing. But that said, I definitely want to say thank you guys for volunteering to do this because without you guys, this wouldn't be happening today or for the past 3 weeks. 2 weeks.
We don't have to be thanked for a single thing we do because I'm going to tell you what, I can speak for myself and say I'm a WLW guy. I'm a Harley guy. I've been a Harley guy my entire life, but I've been a WLW guy for the last 5 years. I am grateful and honored that I got to spend the last 5 years of Harley's life with him. That was an honor. That was an honor to be around him. But we never have to be thanked for it because, man, we're here for the long haul. I'm here till the end, man.
100%.
We burn this place down. We're doing it together.
Right.
It's a team effort, man.
You ain't got to tell me.
So
the team is comprised of everybody that you're listening to and or watching wrestling.
Absolutely.
Whether it's the live events, you're seeing Martin and now Elaney. Both referees and all the wrestlers there. Everybody from the top to the bottom. Derek Stone, him and I don't see eye to eye.
Yeah.
But guess what? He's the current WLW heavyweight champion. And I just want to let it be known now. When we kick back up, when we start back with live wrestling events, they're going to have to answer to somebody. But John Webb, Camaro Jackson, Jaden Dominic Rose, all the way to Young Lions, Sean Patrick, Moses, the Deliverer, CTV, Raheem De La Suede, Stefan Newton, ZC Hendricks, all the talent. And I know I'm forgetting some, and I apologize, but when you have to remember about 35 people, it's a little hard. Superstar
every
Steve, Brandon
single
Espinosa.
one.
Let me pull up that shirt, which you can buy at HarleyRace.com right now, and I can list it off to you. But, we want to make sure that the fans get what they want. They want professional wrestling. World League Wrestling gives you that fix. Mm-hmm. So make sure you stick around because, like you said, CT.
The best is yet to come.
Oh, man, we're in this for the long haul.
We're on 4 stations, and we're working on more. We're going to get more. It's going to happen. We're going to be out there. So, with that being said...
One more quick announcement.
Yes.
Sorry. Are we about to wrap it up?
No.
Okay.
I mean, we can... You want to keep going? We can keep going.
I do have more things to do. But next week, I just got the text message from him. Next week, we will be having former WLW Heavyweight Champion. We will be having former WWE Tag Team Champion and now current NWA Superstar Trevor Murdoch on this program.
Wow.
So we're going to set the reminder. Sarge is real for sure, 100%. But Trevor Murdoch will be joining us next Sunday, and you're going to get to hear his story, his life as it pertains to WLW in the wrestling world.
And he's got a lot to say, I'm sure.
That he does.
So that's great.
And he's not afraid to say it. So
he's not afraid to say it. So, all right. With that being said, Martin, as always, thanks for being here. Leland.
Yeah.
Great for you to stop by. Come back when you can't stay so long.
The honor is all mine. And don't worry, I'll find days when I have a whole lot to do and venture over here.
Oh, wonderful. And again, and most importantly, thank you fans for tuning in and sticking with WLW.
What's that smell? Is that the dead bodies again?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's why they call it
They're
the
under
dungeon.
the tables.
It's okay, he'll let us out.
I did see the Bolton board fall across the door as soon as I came in.
Easy. I'm CT Harrison along with Martin Kadich, the Legacy Leland race. This was WLW Amplify, and we will see you next week.
Take it easy, folks.
You just had to get the last word.
That's right.
Okay.
I don't say that much.
That's enough.